Randy got my eyes too. She started when she was about the first grade.
Really?
Yeah.
Y'all ready?
I remember her trying to play basketball.
What do I click to get off the TSBS side?
Time up.
Which one?
Video Connect is down there underneath where you log in.
Maybe it has a TSBA boot.
There. Yes,
It's
that's
on
it.
TSBS.
Yes,
All right,
that's
that's what
it.
I thought. I just don't use this other than I'm here.
Yeah, I know.
All right, here we go, guys. Thank you all for coming. I'd like to call to order our called meeting. Thank you all for doing this on during your lunch. So we're going to hopefully zip right along. If you guys don't mind, we're just going to go ahead and get started into the meeting. So if I can get a motion to approve the regular agenda.
Make a motion.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
Second.
Anybody have any questions or comments on the agenda? All right, hearing none. All in favor of approving the agenda, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Here we go. First item is approved contract with Markland Behavioral Services from December 20, 2019 through December 20, 2020 for behavioral services. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
Second.
Okay, this was we needed to have this contract to be able to take care of a student who we have, and it will be providing ABA therapy for that student. And so this will be the provider. The contract's written in a way that if we would have need for other students, we could possibly use that as well.
Do you have any questions or comments? Okay, item on the floor is to approve contract with Markland Behavioral Services from December 20, 2019 through December 20, 2020 for behavioral services. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Next item. Approve contract with Stop It Solutions in accordance with Tennessee Risk Management Trust for an anti-bullying app for children to use in Elizabethton City Schools. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Okay, this contract is with Stop It Solutions. You've probably seen a lot of school systems go with an app to try to help with bullying or reporting of bullying. It's a link to our administration to possibly give us possible issues as they have, and as you've seen on the news, different places, there have been some instances where these apps have helped with issues that are going on with specific students. They feel more comfortable reporting it to an app maybe rather than a person, but gives us an opportunity to follow up on it if there's an issue we need to address. So we've been working on it. Mr. Van Huss will be doing some training with everyone on that if it's approved today, and then we'll get that implemented and out to all of our schools.
Anybody have any questions or comments? All right. Item on the floor, approved contract with Stop It Solutions in accordance with Tennessee Risk Management Trust for the anti-bullying app for children to use in Elizabethton City Schools. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Next item, discussion about creation of a resolution to be delivered to the City Council to request a bond issue in the amount of $1.2 million for improvements at T.A. Duggar Junior High School. So, Dr. G.
Okay, I have two documents here for you, and this is meant for you to have an opportunity to maybe study it further before we make a decision. But I wanted to give this to you, and one of the things, we had some discussion with council about looking at the entire project. One thing we know from the bonds is that we do not have enough to do that right now. However, based on the correction that we received, we know that we probably could access about $1.2 million. And if you look on page 4 of this document that has the city seal on it, it'll show you the bond constraint at $800,000 and the 1.2 in borrowing capacity that's there based on the half-cent sales tax funds that we currently have. Look at the P&I payments that we would have, and then look at our existing debt service and what we're paying. If you look at the last two columns and the existing debt service, we have somewhere in the neighborhood of $632,400, and the net new debt service that we would have there would be somewhere about $717. We know that we would try to go, our bond payment would go up to about $800. What's it generating right now? It's probably around $899. It's $899,000 per year, and we would be making a payment of about $800. That's based on a few months ago about where we were. Where are we, Beth? Is it pretty close to that still?
Last year it generated $899,000, and this year it's running just a little bit more.
Okay, so we would still have some excess that would go into an account that we could use for other capital projects that we would need, or emergency issues that would come up, and then we would be able to comfortably make the payment on that. Now, what would we get for the 1.2 million? A couple of large items that we would need to tackle could be the roof and the existing restrooms within the building. We are in the process of trying to get an idea about the exact amounts of what it would cost for us to be able to do both of those projects. Estimates are around $700,000 to do all the roofs at TA Duggar. And then the other, we have some that are almost brand new that we would not touch. But all the rest of the roof, we have one flat roof we replaced about 6-7 years ago. Everything else would need to be replaced. And that is about where we had a preliminary estimate on that. Bathrooms would be around $500,000. Our goal would be, if we had any excess, we would look at helping with the hardening of the entrance in the front of TA Duggar. So that would be the three things that we would try to do. Now, we're not going to ask the board to vote on anything or do anything until you have hard numbers in front of you and you can see exactly what we're going to get. And we would do that in conjunction with city council. But we're at a crossroads, and the council, they called me today and said, what do we want to do? I think right now, according to them, the choices are, we could, one, approve this $1.2 million, make the $800,000 payment, and do that for a number of years until 2026, where we have an opportunity with a lot of debt rolling off to look at doing the entire project at that time, the addition of the classrooms. Two, we had discussed looking at a combination of possibly raising taxes, then also looking at us raising tuition considerably, and then us doing that. And my opinion on that is, if we do a lot to change tuition, we may lose the people we have. And so one of the ways that we have been able to get to the point where we are with as much tuition, it's not just the tuition, it's also the operating dollars that come with that. So that could, if we based part of the payment, which in that scenario was $160,000 per year, that's a lot of tuition. It would mean raising tuition on average about $500 a person, a child. So that's that. And then it would be simply just not doing anything at this point and waiting till 2026. Let this money accrue to where we would have that money, a better chance of getting everything done in 2026. But I can tell you right now that the roof needs to be done. There's no question there. We've put a lot of money in repairing the roof. And we need to do something in the restrooms there. So how
Both
do you?
the roof replacement and restrooms were part of what we would do if we had the entire money to completely work on TAW. That would be part of it already anyway, so this would be something we could do.
The $4.5 million number that we have right now does not include
Does not include
the
But those are
roof.
things we absolutely,
Those are things we need to,
Okay.
we need to really look at too. So, the other possibility is that the county would do something in that period of time, and we would have the money to be able to do that at that point too. Maybe within the next 3 or 4 years, the county decide to do some type of consolidation where we would receive money and then be able to do the addition there. So, how do you all feel?
Well, I got one question. What kind of timetable do we have to give an answer or tell our intentions to the city council so
Well,
they can prepare their budget for next year?
The
What's their
city,
timetable?
the city is, not in an absolute time crunch, but they want to refinance the bonds that we currently have because the interest rates are so low. If they could do that, that would save us money, you know, and them too. It would reduce the overall debt capacity and allow them to do other projects they need to do as well. So they're looking at doing, they just refinanced the electric system bonds and saved a lot of money. They want to look at ours and do that too, but while they're looking at it, instead of just doing a refinance, which we have to pay for every time there's a refinance, we really need to look at, they said, while we're doing that, do you all want to look at doing something at TA Duggar?
So sometime after the first of the year, possibly they would need.
They would love for
know
us
what
to
our
have
intentions are.
what our intentions are to, and have a resolution to them so they could do it on January 9th is their meeting where they have. That's what they would like, but they have not put it in front of council yet, but this is the talk that we're doing. But we need to have a resolution about where we are as a board. I think if we say we're gonna wait till 2026, let the money in there, and we'll do a few projects between now and then, they're gonna move forward with other projects they have and move forward. And they'll increase their debt load for those projects. If we're wanting to do something, they're gonna take that into account when they're looking at all the other projects they're gonna do.
So you're saying about, you're thinking 5.7 to do everything,
I am, yeah.
and you're thinking that 2026, are you thinking that's about when 5.7 would be available, is in 2026 as a lump
Right,
sum?
yeah.
Or 4.5 would be available if we
went
use
ahead and did
1.2?
these. Right.
But the roof can't last till 2026.
I mean, we can Band-Aid it and repair it. We can continue to do that, but it's
Is
not in
there-
great shape.
The design, or the thought process for the addition, does it does it tie into the existing roof? It would,
Yes.
wouldn't it?
There is a possibility with whatever design we choose. If we choose the design where we're gonna build on, tie in the crow's nest and do that design, we probably would have to take part of the roof on the very back. In the middle, we would take part of that roof and then it would come out. So we would disrupt the roof that we are putting on now. However, if you drive by TA Duggar and you take a look at the roof and know how many leaks we've had, we've done well, and we've done some major patching to it, but it is not in great shape. It's probably at almost 30 years of life, 27 and a half, I think. is
Well,
where
doesn't the
we are.
bathrooms take some of the expense off of the original overall project?
Yeah, I mean, part of the 4.5 was to do the bathrooms on the inside, because we're still using, the ability to be able to have a community event in the auditorium and those restrooms, we would need to renovate those because we're going to be using those. We would want to be able to section that piece off and allow people to do that, use that area. The way the design is that down towards where the office part is right now, when I say the office, the main office area, we would be going out that where the portables are. And so we would put restrooms in the middle of both floors, lower and upper.
So I want to make sure if I misunderstood, and I apologize. So the 1.2, all right, excuse me, the 4.5 does or doesn't,
The 4.5 would take care of the restrooms.
would
not
take care of, okay, would not take care of the roof. Okay.
Yeah.
And you're saying for 500,000, we can do that portion of the 4.5 out of this 1.2?
Yes.
So are we talking about building new restrooms, not renovating the current ones? We're talking about
We
building
would
brand new
be-
restrooms?
We would be renovating the current restrooms that are there. But
Building
there's a-
down the road.
And
Building
with the
additional
building
down the
is
road.
when we'll put the other restrooms where the office is what you're
Yes.
saying?
Yeah.
Would it be of any help to us as a board to sit down with Mr. Weems in a workshop and discuss this? Do you guys think it would be of help
Absolutely.
to us or not?
I'd like to know how come the renovation on the restrooms is so expensive, $500,000.
Well,
The floor, isn't it like the floor, they were talking about it so,
there's a lot of variability. It's a concrete, we've done different things to try to make that work, where we're having bladders put inside pipes and
So you're
different
saying
things.
in renovation, we're ripping out the plumbing and everything, all new,
Yes.
going back in, not just,
No, we're not just doing
not making it pretty, we're making it.
cosmetics. We're doing,
Okay.
we're going down and doing the piping and doing the difficult work and do it the right way, to where we don't have to deal with it.
Would you have, in the renovation process, would you have female and male on the first floor on the same end? Or are you still just having like a male on one end, a female on the other on the first floor, and then the opposite up above it? Is it just keep it like it is?
Probably keep it the way it is, or we could,
I'm just
We have
thinking, I
choices.
know, well, of course, they do have the elevator, but for somebody to
Yeah.
go to the restroom of the
Yeah.
opposite sex, that's a
but that's something
little
we
bit
can
of
look
a
at.
hassle if we're redoing something, but
Yeah.
to not have to go to the other end if they don't want to go upstairs or
I
whatever.
asked Mr. Weems to come today. He couldn't make it, but he's willing to talk with us and try to walk us through kind of what their thinking is. And he was giving me estimates off the top of his head. I didn't want to go ahead of our board and say, go ahead and make the plans for this, when I didn't know where you want to go and waste the money. You know what I mean there? But I just want to make sure we're kind of together in a fashion of what we want to do first, and then we're going to move forward. But he has been looking at, to give us just a kind of an estimate of where we might be.
So you're wanting us basically to probably have an idea by next Tuesday.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the,
I mean, to meet the January 9th deadline, I mean, if that's
But
for next
if,
something by then.
if we don't want to do anything right now, then I think that what we say is, we're just going to leave it as is and investigate it more. And
I just wonder how far out I mean, I just that's not a lot of time for something. We don't get big things like this very often. Obviously, I've not had something like that as a board member, but even just as an employee or whatever, wonder how far can they go much past that January time? Because to
Well,
try to meet with Williams,
I
to try
think
to learn
they're-
some things, that's an awful lot of,
yeah,
it's
lot
like
of
that's
ask.
crunching that time, yeah.
Okay.
But not just to throw it away because there's not time and because we just don't feel right. I don't want to just say, no, there's just rushing it. I'd rather be more informed, I guess, maybe going
Okay.
into something that big of a deal.
I think you were just kind of wanting to take our pulse on it. If we wanted
Yeah.
to ask Tom to kind of put something together. I think, we have kept, since I've been on the board, and we did the first half-cent sales tax, T.A. Duggar's always been the talking point. It's always been pushed back because it was it was hard to combine with other things because you just don't know. But I would love if we could to give them something at some point.
Okay.
Oh, at some point, we may not have a choice with the roof.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I just kind of wondered if, we have some excess half-cent sales tax, if that would accumulate enough to make some considerable improvements to the roof without the 1.2. trying to
Beth,
buy
where
some.
are we, about 400,000 in excess right now?
My estimates have that at the end of this year, we would have roughly $600,000.
Roughly six, okay.
But we don't want to
They're gonna
deplete
take
that
it
too
down to-
much.
No.
Yeah.
We
But I
we
just-
can't bum off the city to help us put a roof on it, can we? But they
I
put it in
mean,
their budget for next
I,
year?
I think what they want from us is kind of a direction. And if that is that if the direction is we want to use existing half-cent sales tax money, it's there to do a project, I think the answer, and I can't speak for them, but I think the answer would be yes. Use your money to do what you feel you need to. But they're also concerned that we always keep a balance in that account to make sure if we have anything that comes up that could be a possible, $200,000 or $300,000, that we can use that money to take care of a capital need, emergency need, if we had it.
We've replaced how many heating, like
A lot.
things like that when something goes in the winter and.
We have, yeah.
I know just what the community, just doing the big thing is such a big deal, because that was
I
kind of.
agree.
And doing it right,
Yep.
and I worry about, somehow, I just need to know more, because
Sure.
I don't want it to fall apart, special place, but I want it, they need to get the big thing done, it's just kind of it's how we got some other things, so we just need to figure out how can we expedite, get that done right as quickly as possible. And I think about, 7 more years just sounds like a hard pill to swallow.
Yes.
If there's something that we can figure
If we
out.
could do something.
Well, let's go back to the tuition argument. Do you all feel like we need to significantly raise tuition to try to bring that back, to say that's something we want to look at, or how do you feel?
I'd want to see the numbers. I'm not we're the best bargain anywhere in the state for somebody to come to our school system. And it was intentionally done, don't have an issue with that. It's served us well over the years. I'm sure that there's a certain element of people who think that it's too good of a deal, but I think it's been good for us. It obviously brings a number of people in, and you don't want to mess that up. You don't want to lose teachers, you don't want to lose programs. I understand, all that. But to at least look into that, I think you'd have to be a good steward, you at least have to say, have maybe more hard stuff to say, no, that just doesn't seem good to do.
And I think every now and then we
Yeah.
ought to increase it a little bit, but not a significant amount.
Well, that's 500's a lot.
Yes.
Especially
And plus,
multiple people.
it's such you can't depend on it. You never know when somebody could
Yeah.
just start saying, well, we're going to do this. And so
Well,
I hate
if we-
pinning everything.
The talk was that we would use the 1.2, raise taxes by a penny, and let me just, living here, we have an election year. Do you think that we're going to be raising any taxes during election year?
I definitely don't feel comfortable asking the
That's not
council
gonna
to raise
happen.
property tax.
I
I don't
just,
see that as an option.
Well, we don't normally do that,
we don't.
even in non-election.
Exactly. So between that and that part and the tuition part, I think it would be a fantastic situation for us. However, I'm just trying to look at the likelihood, and then the likelihood that we would have a soft approach to being able to pay that money. And to me, that was.
Well, I know, like, we're talking to Kurt and talking to city manager, they want T.A. Duggar as much as we do.
Right.
We just can't afford it, the city can't afford it right now. So the 1.2 is something, doesn't really hurt our payments that much, we can do a few things there. And then as soon as all that debt rolls off, then that gives us so much more room.
Well, the 1.2 would not delay the 2026 goal at all, but it have an impact on making it out another
Well,
year or
when
two,
we,
but it's still.
we spent time looking at the bonds, there's no way really to know, but we have some things that are going to, when I say they felt comfortable that as a city, maybe not as a school system, but as a city, that's a time where we have the ability to take on more debt to be able to do a project like that. Now, what I will say also is, there's some things that have changed. The balloon indebtedness, and the way that we are able to get bonds and how we structure deals means that we have to have principal payments up front. Okay, so it's not, we can no longer just make interest payments and then put the principal on the end and keep moving the principal down the road as we refinance. So in every case, if we want to be able to get a bond issued, the city and the school system have to be together, and then we have to get special permission from the comptroller to be able to do that, from he himself. So that puts up a barrier, because we also know on the city side, with council and everything else, right now, we have a council who's very much behind the school system. I'd like to think that's the way it always will be. But I've been here in years where we didn't have that much support. So we would hope that that's going to increase. You know, there'll be opportunities. One thing that's coming on the horizon, and that will change our fortunes sales tax wise, will be that they're going to be taxing internet items, Amazon, and those types of things. So we will get a portion of that. So that could dramatically change what we're getting in sales tax, and increase that amount faster in our half-cent sales tax. So just food for thought, and I'm not trying to push you to make a decision. I just know that they've come to me. We've asked a couple months to try to get a workshop together. We haven't had success of that. So but we can ask them to push the decision back, see how far we can, and try to get some more information to the board, and try to look at it.
Would everybody be comfortable with Tuesday night kind of deciding, you know, do we want to ask Tom to put some plans together and have a called meeting and meet with him about that? And then that would give the city council an idea that, yeah, we are moving, and pick a date for that. Come next Tuesday prepared to say, yes, we either want to do that, and if so, some dates that we could have a called meeting pretty quickly around the first of the year. If everybody, you know, like, would you guys want to do that? That lets council know we are kind of thinking that way. Do you want a couple of days to
No way
think
do
about
we
it?
want to just turn down money if it's available and we can
Yeah.
actually be productive and get some things done. But there again, we don't want to come back in 2026 and say, well, if y'all hadn't got that 1.2, now you can only get 3 million. or
Exactly.
Something when we really need the.
Well, if it makes you
when
feel
we get
better,
it
the
all done.
1.2 wasn't our idea.
Yeah. Well,
that
yeah,
was
they-
theirs,
yeah,
so that
they
does help.
Approached us with that,
Mhm.
Yeah,
Uh,
and we're still probably looking at probably 5 or 5.5 in 2026.
I think so. I
It
mean,
never
I
gets
think
cheaper.
it will increase, the cost will increase, for
But
sure.
I just hope that sometime I mean, if there's a way, you know, to say, Ted, this is your pot. We're gonna do what we, you know, what everybody wants us to do, and we're just not gonna deal,
But we want to do it right.
We're gonna do it right,
Mhm.
and we're not gonna, but at some point, we're gonna have to have some money set aside that we just don't mess with. But then I understand we have old buildings, so it's a tough, I know it's a tough formula, but I just, you know, again, that would just be so.
Do you feel, I mean, do you all feel that we need to wait?
We need to get all our information before
Yeah.
we
Okay.
actually say we
All right.
want to do
That's
this.
what I
I
would
think we
say.
need to have an information gathering plan.
Okay, what
And then just try to
information,
go with what we feel.
what information would you like to have in order to be able to make a decision on how
I
to move
think you
forward?
have to know what money would be generated through, you know, the tuition, so you can at least see how ugly or good that would look.
Okay,
Um,
okay.
And sitting down with Tom Williams and
Yeah.
saying, you know, look at the
Yeah.
big picture, we've got to scale it down. What's the best thing we can do if we were to take that money? Because there's an area behind T.A. Duggar where we tore the grandstands down. I would like to address that, but I know it's not a physical need, it's just kind of a, you know, aesthetically, but it's kind of ratty looking back there where we tore the grandstands out. I don't know what it
Sure.
would cost to clean it up and fix it and put it in grass, or, I mean, that's part of the long-range plan
We have to
anyway.
probably just truck in dirt. One of the things that makes that a little bit challenging is the fact that we have to progressively grade it to where we don't have a landslide come out of there with the change in elevation. But I think that we can do that. I think it's just make some type of berm that people could sit on, maybe watch a game.
And I know it's not as important as the roof. I
Yeah.
understand that.
I-
And
So-
it could be fixed too if we do build an addition. I mean, that's what we're
That's
thinking about.
part of what that's
So,
gonna be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so what we're gonna try to do is we'll get a picture of tuition, what that would look like. And then we'll try to talk with Mr. Weems. Now, if he kind of moves forward, we'll probably have to have a contract with him to do this work to get it ready for you all. So I'll find out the amount of time it's gonna take for him to do the investigation and that. Fortunately, we're inside the building, we're not digging in the ground, and we're on the roof. So maybe it can happen sooner than later, and then, get that to you.
Would he not already have some of that though done? Good
He
to have
has-
some of the information that we already have.
We have more data, we have some, but we have more data on the outside where we did core drilling and sampling and those types of things. We spent about $50,000 a couple years ago trying to get kind of an idea of what variability we were going to have in going into the project. So investigations in the pipes and those types of things will take a little bit, but I think that he could have something together decently soon. And then I'm going to ask City Council to just hold off a little bit and see if they will be able to do that. They may need to go ahead and move on with their refinance, but we'll try to get this together as quickly as we can.
Yes, that's delaying though, would that hurt the bond market? I guess that's an unknown. Isn't it?
We talked about that with Rick Delaney, who put these numbers together. He doesn't have a crystal ball, but he said that there's a good possibility that the bond market, at least till the election, may stay decently stable unless something major happens. But right now, it's about the best it possibly can be to do that. So, yeah.
Anything else on that one?
Okay.
All right, appreciate everybody on that. All right, next item, approve bid number 2019-2020-03 from Armstrong Construction Company for completion of the STEM lab at Elizabethton High School in the amount of $150,300. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Okay, this bid is to help us with our STEM lab, and we've been working on that, and thanks to our TCAT folks and working on the GIVE grant and everything that's been going on there. We have the opportunity to get this done, and we have a compliant bidder. We are able to get, I guess we had 5 bidders, so that drove the cost down. So we're really happy with this price.
Questions or comments?
Again, just, I think it was your email or maybe I read is that this is paid for with XQ year 1 budget?
We have year 1, and we have the original grant that has money there.
That was the original 250 from a
200,
couple of years
yeah,
ago?
from all 3 years ago.
3.
Yeah, so we've been kind of saving that to be able to do some of these projects. So yes, and we have a little bit that the City Council appropriated out of the half-cent sales tax for us to use, about $11,000 or $12,000 there. So we're gonna bring that money together. It's approximately $250,000 maybe we have there.
Yeah, from year 1 has roughly 124. The original has 133.
Yeah.
I just think that's important, they know that we're not using school funds, we're asking for this money, or that we're using funds that we have to use from another just to do this, so.
Yeah.
So we're not spending $150,000 to do this, and that we were asking them for more money, so I think
Yeah,
that's important
I
they
mean,
know,
it's-
so.
yeah, they, we'll amend the money. We actually had it approved by the board at that time to put money towards those projects, so.
So this just takes care of the bid.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, we've just been saving it for when we had an opportunity to do it.
So if we vote on this, thank you, XQ. Anybody else have any questions or comments? All right, item on the floor, approve bid number 2019-2020-03 from Armstrong Construction Company for completion of the STEM lab at Elizabethton High School in the amount of $150,300. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next item, approve the purchase of 110 touchpad Chromebooks for special education classrooms for student use in the amount of $30,690. These Chromebooks will be purchased using IDEA and donation funds through the Cooperative Purchasing Program. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you. Have a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Okay, these are IDA, and this is going to help instruction in the classroom, so Mr. Van Huss made this request.
You might have Christmas early.
Yeah, teachers on, yeah.
Anybody have any questions or comments? Okay, item on the floor, approved purchase of 110 touchpad Chromebooks for special ed classrooms for student use in the amount of $30,609, purchased through IDEA and through the Cooperative Purchasing Program. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next item, approve independent auditor's report of Elizabethton, Tennessee Board of Education Internal School Funds Regulatory Basis, School Activity Funds Audit Report for the fiscal year ended June 30, 2019. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you. Have a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Okay, this is our annual audit. We separated between our schools, and the next one will be for our district as well, and what we're going to do to comply with the audit.
Anybody have any questions or comments? Okay, hearing none. Item on the floor is approve independent auditor's report of Elizabethton, Tennessee Board of Education Internal School Funds Regulatory Basis, School Activity Funds Audit Report for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2019. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Last item, approve Board of Education Audit Report Physical Statements and Supplemental Information for the fiscal year ended June 30, 2019. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Okay, this is our individual audit report, and we appreciate Ms. Wilson and her team. She's been working hard with our school level and our district level audit, so we appreciate that.
Anybody have any questions or comments? Okay. Item on the floor, approve Board of Education Audit Report, Financial Statements and Supplemental Information, fiscal year ended June 30, 2019. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Again, Ms. Wilson, thank you very much. Next meeting will be Tuesday, December 17th, at 6:30, correct?
That's correct.
Yep, here in the boardroom. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you. Next, second?
Second.
Adjourn. See y'all next week. Thank you all so much.
So,